Coach Brown's talked about not loving an early bye week like this. Kind of, what do you do with your group? You know, how do you don't want to go too hard. You want to rest some guys, but you also need to get something. What did you do with your group to work on things last week?
Really, just try to just focus on a lot of little things. You know, again, you don't want to overdo it in a bye week. You want to try to stay, in your rhythm and your routine as much as you can. So we certainly practiced. We just went out in helmets, but we just tried to have a lot of attention to detail. We were able to rest a couple of frontline guys that got a little banged up in the James Madison game. So, able to get extra treatment for those guys. But really just kind of business as usual. We did a lot of scout work, so a lot of early prep work on Bowling Green, and so that was a really good thing. And so it's just a lot of the little things, a lot of the details, but you certainly want to, because it's a long season, you don't want to overdo it. You want to, maybe get your legs back a little bit, and we gave our guys a couple of days off, Friday and Saturday, but then that also allowed us to come back yesterday and really kind of get a jump. Typically Sundays are super light after a regular game. Having a couple of days off prior to that allowed us to go out yesterday and really get more of a Tuesday, Wednesday type of practice in to kind of get back in, just kind of our normal rhythm and normal routine. Did a lot of good on good yesterday, so just to knock the rust off, and now we're kind of back on schedule here on Monday. So just again, with our guys up front, just a lot of the little attention to detail, little things to clean up from the first couple of weeks. Make sure that we're getting out, we're getting a good sweat in, and just trying to stay as sharp as possible.
Mark, the defense has started, obviously, the season great, especially up front. Cleve Lupin's a guy that really kind of jumps off the page. Can you talk about the motor that he has that makes him so impactful?
Well, that's really what jumped out to us when we decided to go after him. The portals, you don't really have a lot of time. When the portal opens up, guys jump in. You've got to make decisions fairly quickly and be ready to move on guys. And so when we watched his video, that's the one thing that jumped out, was just he was nonstop. Now, physically, he maybe wasn't as long, and just maybe didn't have some of the natural physical gifts that some other elite edge players had, but there was not a guy that we watched that compared to him from a motor standpoint. And to me, that always wins out in the end. I love coaching guys like that. And from day one, since he stepped on campus here, he has been full speed, full go, every day, every snap, and that's been great for our group. And he's been a natural leader for us. We lost some good players, obviously, after last season, and he's kind of naturally stepped into that role. Now guys like Renee Conga and Wesley Bailey and even Denzel Lowry, I think, are three other guys that help from a leadership standpoint. Cleve's been really the guy from day one, the vocal guy. And then you do it by example, day in and day out. Your best players, you want your best players to be your best practice players, and he certainly is a guy like that for us. So certainly excited about his start, and just want to continue to challenge him every day. And he loves that. He wants to accept those challenges, and he wants to be the best at what he does. And so happy for the start. It's a long season, so we just got to keep forging ahead.
Mark, you mentioned Wesley Bailey just a second ago. When you think about just his story, both on and off the field, what impresses you the most about the person and the player that he is?
Just a great guy, number one. The connection with Renee and their time together at Rutgers. That obviously helped getting him here, but just seeing a guy like that that's just a genuine person, great guy overall. Obviously lost, his mom at an early age, and just learning the backdrop of his siblings and who he's super close with, the rest of his family. How can you not love a story like that? And so happy again that we're able to get a guy like that that's played good football, He's come in, he's been very motivated from day one. The connection with Renee has helped that transition, and he's really, really liked by his teammates. I really like our group, to be honest with you. I think from top to bottom, obviously you've got to have older guys, the Gerards and the Congas and AJ Greens that were coming back. It was good to have that foundation, but to be able to add, the Cleve Lubins, the Wesley Baileys, the Denzel Lowrys, Jerry Lawsons, guys like that come in and give you some impact at some other positions. And they all like each other. They're all willing to work hard, push each other, hold each other accountable. I think that's a big thing too. Not let anybody kind of drift off and do their own thing. It's been a fun group to coach.
Mark, looking back in the preseason, you talked about Jordan and Renee being, key pieces and guys in the middle. Looking back to last year, did you realize, I guess maybe, did they play this well at times last year? There were just so many guys that were in the mix last year, but they seem to have taken it to another level, both of those guys.
Jordan, we knew Jordan had it in him, but he was coming off of the shoulder surgery from the previous spring. So Jordan was a little bit more of an unknown. Renee, we felt like what we saw at Rutgers. Again, you saw it in bits and pieces. We had some injuries that kind of slowed his development a little bit, but loved his length and his athleticism and knew what was there, and got really excited about him early in the season because I thought he was really, making strides early, and then I think it was after the Notre Dame game that next week, he got a leg whipped in practice. He got a really pretty severe bone bruise, so he was down for about really 4 or 5 weeks, maybe 6 weeks before he really came back, and I thought he was kind of back in rhythm late in the season, starting with the Stanford game. So Jordan, once Jordan came back, Notre Dame game of last year, he showed spurts of it, and I think my biggest thing with Jordan right now is just consistency. We've seen more consistent play out of Renee. I think the challenge for Jordan is just doing it week in and week out, and we've had those very, direct conversations, and he knows that he needs to eliminate, the dips that he's had before. But when those guys are both on their A game, they're hard to handle. So, and then you add to that Denzel and Jerry, who have come in, and now Selah's coming back off of this calf, and then we added Jay Sean Kaufman from Central Michigan. I think that gives us, a good nucleus of 6 guys inside that we can go with. But obviously Renee and Jordan set the tempo and make it all happen for us in that first group.
You mentioned it's still early, only 2 games, but it does seem like this group has meshed very well in terms of just having that chemistry. I guess, what have you seen in terms of just the camaraderie, and how has that translated into, some of those bigger plays?
Yeah, I think these guys realize that we've got talent in the room, and they all want to be out there. They all want to be making plays, and I think they push each other and challenge each other on a daily basis. And again, as a coach, that's what you love. It can't always come from the coaches. Those guys, they've got to be vocal. They've got to communicate when they're on the field, and so I think they've developed a pretty good bond so far. Again, the thing that I need to continue to do with them is challenge them on a daily basis on the details, because again, the details matter. And we're happy to be 2-0, but we also understand that the toughest part of our schedule is in front of us. So we just, again, it's coaching talk. You just got to take them one at a time. And again, we remind our guys every time we go out there, rent is due. And what we mean by that is you got to bring your A game. You got to go out there and earn it every weekend. And you'd be foolish to not be watching college football and see a lot of the upsets that are taking place. So there's no margin for error. We talk about that as well. And we want to set the tempo on defense. We want to make it happen for our defense. We want those guys behind us to be able to play fast and physical, and we know if we bring it and are doing our job of being aggressive up front and knocking people back, that makes everybody's job easier. So these guys feed off of each other, they challenge each other, and for a coach, that's fun to see.
You talk about upsets happening, and you watch football on teams that are, have been great defensive teams. Some of those upsets are because they weren't great defensively. I'm not mentioning anybody in particular, but how much of that is what do you notice from all that? And if you get to watch it, and how much of it is a lesson to your guys just in watching that when you know it's a good defensive team?
I think I just said it. I mean, you gotta bring it every week. There are no gimmies on Saturday. Whether you're playing at noon, middle of the afternoon, or at night, you got to bring it. And I know this Bowling Green team. They're 2-1. Just go back to a year ago. Now I know it's a new staff, right? But if my memory serves me correct, they were within a touchdown of Penn State. They were also within a touchdown of Texas A&M. Those are two pretty good teams. So you got to bring it. You got to bring it. And for these guys to do what they do year round, and you're only guaranteed 12 games, right? Why would you ever waste an opportunity? So those are the things that we talk about. And again, just understanding the big picture. We're going to go out there with the mindset that we're going to win the game on defense, and that's our mentality. And the big part of that is it starts with us up front. If we're not bringing it up front and setting the tone, then our defense is going to have a much longer day. And so it starts with us, and our guys look forward to accepting that challenge week in and week out. Thank you.